hot. And as soon as I see it pop up on YouTube, I'll sprout my blurb. Hey, hello everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome to Rainy Nights, the show where I take a motor vlogger or a motorcycle enthusiast and I run them through the ringer. Tonight, we have the Loose Juice. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, absolutely. I'm pretty confident there's a good chunk of you that are familiar with my face, just doing the Weirdos Assemble podcast with Mike. But if in the odd chance you haven't heard of me, wildly popular 135 subscriber YouTube channel, Loose Juice, you can find me on YouTube at the channel name is Loose Juice, but whatever, if you want the handle, it's youtube.com/@ the Loose Juice, V with 2 E's, and that's the same handle for Instagram as well. So I would recommend following me on both, but I definitely post to Instagram more.
Right on. If you haven't been here before, I am Rainy Rider. I ride a 2019 BMW Grand America and a 2021 Harley Sportster. So feel free to give both of our channels a like and a subscribe. So let's kick this off. So where are you from and what is your main ride?
Right. So right now I currently live in Southwest Michigan. I grew up in Indiana, in Northwest Indiana, for my Indiana people, my corn-fed folks. But I moved to Michigan last year, and I ride a few different bikes. But my main steed at the moment, until I get my Harley, is a 2001 Concourse. And if you followed my channel, you know I've done a ton of work with that. And I bought it as a $800 running non-riding bike and turned it into a sweet sport touring bike. I will be, and I alluded to this earlier, and I've kind of mentioned it in other streams before. I am the owner of a Road King. I've never ridden it. It's still stuck in the shop, but that will be my main bike. So 2011 Road King Classic. It's silver. I haven't had photos to share on my channel yet because, still in a shop.
Right on. So those of us who have gotten to know you kind of know all your ins and outs, but so how did you get into motorcycling?
Right. So I actually have been into motorcycling, big picture, since I was 6. I'm one of those people that started on a dirt bike. So my first bike was a KTM 50cc. They called it Senior Edition. And that I grew up in a suburb, mind you, on a 3/4 acre lot. And I had essentially a dirt track around my house, and just spent hours and hours and hours riding around a little 50cc dirt bike. I'm not confident our neighbors loved that, but my dad was a cop in the city, and I don't think anybody was going to call and complain. So I did dirt biking from at a pretty early age, so 6 till about 9. We had to give it up because of cost and just access to good riding area. Once you get into some bigger bikes, it starts to become even more unpractical to ride around your house in a suburb. And then picked up motorcycles again in 2018, where I bought a full-size dirt bike, KTM 300 two-stroke. I hope there's some people in the chat that like two-stroke dirt bikes because they have a special place in my heart. But then in April of 2021, I got back on, or I got my first street bike. So I had a Triumph Street Scrambler 900. That was a 2020. Great starter bike. Probably not a great starter bike for somebody that's never ridden a motorcycle, a dirt bike, anything. But that's kind of my riding story. And I've also picked up a bunch of project bikes and other things along the way. So yeah, like I mentioned, or if you've been on my channel, I've got a couple of KZs, but I'm definitely working on a KZ 400 project bike right now. It's going to be green and gold.
Right on. So we got a couple of questions from the audience now. My little brother Aaron says, when are you going to hold a what did he call it? He's going to take a poll and see if people want you to shave your head or not.
I'm okay. I'm going to say no, but only for this reason. I'm not opposed, but if I'm going to do something like that, it's going to have to be for charity. So what I would say is that at Forgotten Angels Campout, maybe we do some sort of shave-a-thon or something. I don't know, like if we raise X number of dollars while on site at the campout, then maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll probably do it.
You know what? I think that'd be a good idea. We'll talk to Josh and we'll get, I don't know, 5 people, and we'll start filling up jugs. And whoever has the most money in their jug shaves their head. We'll talk to Josh about that. So
yeah.
That would be excellent. That's a great fundraiser. Yeah, if you're gonna do something stupid, what better excuse to do it than for charity?
Yeah.
So
I mean, at least that way I can explain it to my work why I'm suddenly bald.
So what happened? What it was? All right. So you have been riding since you were 6. That question's answered. Are you a fair weather rider or a rough rider?
Oh, as much as I would love to be a total rough rider guy, I would consider myself a fair weather rider. And I know other people have kind of answered this in a similar way that I'm about to, where I usually, if it's raining out, I'm not going to start a ride. But if I go out and then it rains, I'm okay. I mean, I won't ride in probably like a torrential downpour, but I've been out and got caught riding in the rain, and that's something I feel comfortable with it, but it's not something I seek out.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I don't mind getting wet, and everybody knows this. I'm the rainy rider. I don't mind riding in the rain. What I mind is riding somewhere and then staying wet a long time afterwards. So if I can get the gear on and get to work and I'm still dry, or I can change when I get there, I'm good. If I'm riding somewhere and I don't have a hotel to go to warm up afterwards, I might avoid that ride. So if I'm gonna ride to the mall, I don't know, cross country to visit somebody, and I don't have a facility when I get there to change, that changes things for me. So
yeah, the other component of that is like if it's the summer and it's nice and warm out, and you have potential for rain on your ride, but like at that point it's like I don't really care.
But it's 80 degrees,
especially like you're gonna get wet, but also it's gonna probably feel good, and then you dry faster when you're riding anyways. So yeah.
All right, we had another question. Let's see, or a statement, I guess.
I think Jerry said it should be the least amount in the jug, but I would disagree. I'm with Randy on this one. I think if we're gonna do this jug contest for whose head gets shaved, it ought to be whoever gets the most, I would think.
Oh yeah. So I mean, obviously the charity gets to keep all the money, but I mean, I think at that point, I think it would be just a piece of the reward that you shaved your head because you saved the most money. So then it's like almost like a reward for winning, in a weird way. So
I think that's how those usually go.
Yeah,
because I know I've been to events like that for. It wasn't a St. Baldrick's event, but it was like they did that for St. Baldrick's. That's a similar thing that actually happens pretty much, I think, on St. Patrick's Day or out and around there. So they'll raise money for the St. Baldrick's Foundation, and so whoever raises the most, actually, you have to buy your way into getting your head shaved. I think is the way that works.
So Weems had his whole beard shaved off, and then Shade Tree got a reverse mohawk beard.
Yeah,
$1,000.
I remember that.
So, yeah, that was actually pretty neat. So yeah, I mean, it's for a good cause. Do stupid stuff for a good cause. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
It's like back in the carnival days where you went into the dunking booth to raise money, and the person that they wanted to see dunk the most is the one that raised the most money. So, just how it plays out. So, on to the next question: who inspires you to ride?
I thought about this one. So there's kind of 2 different answers to this, because I would say who has inspired me to ride was my dad. I know I mentioned it before, he was a cop, but he was also a motor cop. So as a young kid, I was always exposed to him showing up on a road king or police road king in the summertime. And he comes in all fully dressed up in his police gear, and then sitting outside listening to the Harley like, you know, like that tick sound, like when you turn it off, you finally start to hear like that tick, 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 tick. I don't know. Those are the things that stuck with me in my head when I was a kid. And I always wanted to get into riding. I think I waited so long because I don't know. I didn't want to get a motorbike when I was still living at home with my parents, because I know they wouldn't really enjoy that. My dad has been in an accident on the police bike when he used to do that. So that was part of it. But other side of this answer is that in current day and age, I would say, and it's probably not a big surprise, but I would say Shade Tree Surgeon has been one of the bigger influences on my desire to ride. So I think he's been a more recent inspiration. So my dad got me into riding, but Josh has got me to actually get out, buy a bike, and go on longer rides.
Yeah, I think it is too. I mean, I was very much not a fair weather rider before this, but I think once you see Josh get out and ride in like he was, you know, for the California run, you know, 34 degrees and it's raining some days and then it's windy, and then on top of that, seeing Shay get out there and do it, you know, on a little.
Sometimes you just got to see it being done to be like, all right, I guess it wasn't like that bad. But also, we're seeing it in a very boiled down, edited video. So
yeah,
there is that. Like, yeah, it's cool to see them do it, but then we don't get to experience the 30 hours of brutal iron butt after iron butt in the rain sometimes.
Yeah, he was very open about it on the Matt Laidlaw channel about how bad it sucked, and that's something I like about Shade Tree. He never tries to sugarcoat it, you know. He'll tell you it sucked. I did it and it still sucked, and I nearly froze my fingers off. But I did not know he had gotten frostbite once.
That was a really interesting interview on that channel. I would recommend to anybody that hasn't seen it, go to that Matt Laidlaw's podcast channel, I think is what it was on. If not, I'm sure if you just type in Matt Laidlaw Shade Tree Surgeon interview, you'll find it.
Yeah, I saw it on the YouTube. I think he does do it at a couple of different places, but I saw it on the YouTube channel. So I saw the edited version, and it was still like an hour and a half long, maybe a little longer, but it was all good. It's very, very good interview. Matt Laidlaw is. If you don't follow Matt Laidlaw, he does some of the coolest stuff. He has the coolest bikes there. He's got a custom shop in there. Each of the guys who work in his shop have custom bikes of their own that and their personality comes out in the bikes. They're not a whole bunch of Harley clones of, you know, what Harley's putting out that year. These guys really do cool stuff to their bikes. So if you don't follow Matt Laidlaw, do that because it's freaking awesome. He has a Harley dealership out in Los Angeles. So good stuff. So Aaron is saying we should see you do a cross-country bike trip.
You know, knowing that my Road King is about to be done, although I guess I didn't say that before, but I'll tell everybody now, it's literally almost done. They ordered the wrong trim piece for the front fender that had to be replaced and repainted, but they ordered the wrong trim piece and had to send it back to Harley. They're just waiting on that final trim piece, and then I'll be able to take it home. But really, they're going to deliver it to me. So when I found that out, I was like, I've been telling everybody I've been planning on driving down with the KZ400 project, but I've been giving additional consideration to, if I don't get that thing done, why not? Why not just take that cross-country trip down to Florida? I've already booked enough PTO time. It should be able to do it, but...
Yeah, no, before I know you were planning on bringing a whole toy box down. So if you take the Road King, will it just be the Road King? Which I am for, by the way.
It would be... Okay, so I'm tossing this around. It's like, I am going to help out my buddy Stuart. He's in the Whiskey Chaser Discord. He needs a ride down there, and either I'm going to help get his bike there, or I was going to bring one of my spare bikes. So he was either going to ride my Road King, and I was going to ride this KZ400. Either way, I was planning on bringing two bikes. So if I bring the Road King, though, I'm probably going to have to rent a trailer or something, which is fine.
Right on. So Buck Brown is asking, how or where did the interest come to want to work on your own motorcycles?
Ooh, that is tough. I've always been a little bit mechanically inclined, I guess would be the words I would use. My grandpa on my mom's side has always been just that, like, He's got a million hobbies, always tinkering. And I spent a fair amount of time with my grandparents growing up. And so I was always in a barn with him, just watching him do projects and stuff like that. But then over the years, as I buy project stuff, I've just learned stuff along the way as a necessity. So I wanted a snowmobile. So I bought a $250 snowmobile that was obviously not in riding condition, and then had to do YouTube University to learn how to do that. And then seeing channels like Shade Tree and Weems and any of those other people that have really come up as Weems is definitely a bike builder. I don't know if Josh would call himself a bike builder, but seeing them do things and be like, if they could do it, I could do it. Well, maybe not Weems. I'm not there for sure, but I guess just seeing it seems like it's become more popular and more out there with YouTube, doing bike building and being hands-on. So like I said, it's always been something I've been into, but I've definitely ramped it up a lot more in the past year.
There's definitely some things I probably would have backed down from if it wouldn't have been for YouTube.
Yeah. 100%. I could not do it without the wealth of knowledge. I mean, you can only learn so much from a climber manual. Yeah. I've got if nobody knows if you don't know what a climber manual is, it's a third-party company that makes a service manual for a bike or a series of bikes. So I've got a climber manual that tells me how to do everything for this bike, but okay, I could read the manual or I could just go on YouTube and watch somebody do it. And I'm one of those people, I learn faster from the visual, just watching somebody do it. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's easy. Keep track of the bolts, that sort of thing. And you learn more of the common sense stuff that's not in the book.
Yeah, I totally agree. You can read through the climber manual, insert A into slot B, be careful of slot C. And
yeah,
until you actually see somebody stick their finger in slot C and figure out why you shouldn't do that, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But yeah, when you see somebody do it, it makes a whole lot more sense.
And I think the biggest frustrating part with those is they're just still photos, and the schematics you cannot I don't know. It's not like the internet where you can expand things out and really get a better attention for detail. So sometimes it's just I don't know. Does that go into there? It's really hard to tell. So, yeah.
Yeah, and no offense to Mr. Climber. Sorry, Mr. Climber, but yeah.
No. It's a great resource because
the numbers are great. Like the numbers in the definite, tolerances and stuff. That's fantastic to know. And I will go back to the Climbers and the Chiltons and check stuff on cars and trucks and whatever. But it is so much easier to watch somebody. You can watch it done in pictures and it doesn't convey very well, like you say. But once you see somebody actually put their hands on it and move it, then you know what to expect, what angle to move things at to get things in. The carburetors I had a Honda Sabre, and to get the carburetors out on that, it basically just said pull the carburetor out. Okay, it seemed like I'm doing something wrong because it should pull out. It should just pull out because they said it should. And to see somebody actually finagle it and how they have to finagle it, and once you do this, it's like the magic trick. You gotta move your hands right in the magic trick, and now you can understand it. So good stuff. Country Coder just stepped in. Another one of my Mississippi brothers.
Awesome.
And Jerry's already here. Sky's Limit Tony's already here. We already said Phil showed up. Phil, don't forget we have a date later, so be on. So it's a pretty good turnout tonight. And hey,
yeah, that's awesome.
And Bride just showed up. Yep, Bride the biker just showed up. Everybody say hi to Bride. He's one of my Indy Ridge brothers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Welcome. And we got Chris there too. Chris Livenlarge just joined.
Chris Livenlarge.
Awesome.
Hey, I might have to hit Chris Livenlarge up later anyway because I got businessman questions for him. So I'll text him later probably. But let's not make this about you. Let's make this about you.
Yeah. Let's get on with the show. What are we doing here?
Now we're playing, man. It's like a bunch of friends playing around a campfire. Somebody's about to stick their pee-pee in it. All right. Big groups or small rides? What do you like to do?
So this one's a tough one because I haven't had a lot of experience with both. I have done them. I think I prefer smaller group rides, but I'm actually one of those people that likes the really big group rides at FA. I know for some people it's a bit too much, and it is a little bit sketchy because you're riding with a bunch of people that you don't know their skill level or how to predict them. But I don't know. I found that there's like kind of a natural flow of a group ride, and sometimes yes, it like gets a little bit of yo-yo-y back and forth, but um, once you key in on that, I find that it's really fun to be just having that many people all in the same path, kind of with the same mindset. It's a little bit, I don't know. There's just like an amazement to it for me.
It feels powerful.
It's like I'm part of a really big thing, but we're all just single people just traveling in one direction.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when I was younger, I liked the really big ones. And as I got older and I needed to make more breakfast stops and food stops, I think I like the smaller ones more.
Yeah.
So, and I'll ride in either one. I will, because I've done big poker runs. I've done, I've never done a beer run because those are a bad idea. Yeah. But yeah, it feels cool to get out and run with a big group of people. And then sometimes you just want to be with a smaller group. So
yeah.
Aaron's asking if I'm going to sing Aaron's asking if I'm going to sing. He's asking if I'm going to sing Mississippi Queen at the karaoke. No, I cannot hit those notes anymore. As I just mentioned, I'm an old man. So Loose might. Juice, you might hit that one. No.
No, that's going to be a no for me. I'm also not from Mississippi. Come on.
Oh, is that why he said that? I get it now.
Probably.
Went over my head. Aaron.
Well, you're originally from Texas, though, aren't you?
I'm originally from Texas, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Literally right on the river there in Little Sabine, right between Texas and Louisiana. So, yeah. Too bad. All right, what is your favorite moto meetup? And when I say moto meetup, I'm talking about the ones that happen periodically every year. You know they're going to be there. If you miss it this year, you can always go next year.
I was thinking about this really hard because the obvious answer is Forgotten Angels Camp Out. And that's kind of what so many of us say, but it's for a reason. I think it's a lot of people's favorite because we've built a really good community and it's growing, and I don't know. I've never had a bad time with the people there. I've been to a couple other things. I know we've talked about Camp Out at the Quarry. I'm not sure if that one's coming back. So aside from Forgotten Angels, that's another one that I really enjoyed. But I don't know if I would call it my favorite because there were some people there that I don't know. I just like the bagger bro mentality at some of these meetups. It's very much not what happens at Forgotten Angels. So that's why I've been spoiled.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get it.
So I think that probably answers the next question. I know I'm jumping ahead on the list here, but yeah, the favorite single meetup that I've done I would say that would be Camp Out at the Quarry. And it's probably unfortunately going to be a one-off because there was rumors of it coming back this year, but they've not released any info on it. So if it ever comes back, I'll definitely go.
Yeah, from what Nicole was saying, they didn't. And crazy enough, they said the diver group was much more chaotic, and they were okay with them. And the biker group was a little more laid back and was still having fun, but they're the ones that they tried to single out. So
I did not experience it that way. No, the bikers, the bagger bro guys tell all. We had the police called out on. Eventually, they just stayed. And I had it in some of my videos, but there were people before the police were called, and then every time they would leave, it was trying to do wheelies down the road because this was just in the middle of the country on some backcountry road. The guy that lived next door used to own the quarry and the property there, and he lived in the house next door, and he was none too happy that this event was happening at all. And then you mix that with alcohol and other illicit substances, and you've got a bunch of people that are just pissing off the neighbors. And we're all having a great time, but I was also one of those people recognizing this could get really dicey.
Right on. So, okay. I guess different perspectives. I didn't go to Camp Out at the Quarry, so I guess the perspective there is which part of the quarry you hung out in. So.
Okay, yeah. So the quarry itself, was kind of on the other side. I mean, we hung out in the quarry, literally. We hung out in the water. There's like the quarry, like the diver's house, I would call it. Like, it's a bigger building that it's kind of like a hangout space that they use. And I think there's like a bar and stuff up there. But really the camp out portion of it was like a little bit further away. So there was a big field kind of adjacent to the quarry. So if you wanted to go between your campsite and the quarry, you either walked, I think it was about it was definitely over a quarter mile, or you had somebody that was on like a little pit bike or golf cart, anything like that. So the layout was a little funky, I will say that, but it was still fun. Big open field.
All right, if you guys got any questions, make sure that you put my name before it. That way it'll pop up in yellow and I'll be able to see it, because the questions are coming pretty fast. So to make sure I know the questions or the comment is directed towards me or Juice, make sure you put my name or his name in front of it where it'll light up. Our next question, let's see. What is the stupidest thing you've ever done on a motorcycle?
So this one's probably, it's one that a lot of people can relate to. It's not that crazy, but I have on more than one occasion, but definitely at least once with the concourse, I was taking off the center stand. And for those of you that don't know, the concourse is about 700 pounds. And I thought the kickstand was down. So that feeling of you take it off the center stand, I think I was on the right side of the bike, which was stupid because there was no way for me to even reach over and fling the side stand out. And all of a sudden there I am like, oh shit. and like trying to fight it back. There's no fighting that. When you got a bike that heavy, that's that top heavy. That was pretty dumb. But I've done it also before on a KZ, not this KZ, because it doesn't have a what do you call it? Clutch neutral safety switch kind of deal. So if you go to start the bike in gear, it just starts to lurch forward. So I dumped that bike doing that. That was pretty dumb. But on the road, I'm not going to say I'm like a super safe rider. I'm not like Johnny Law, got to follow the speed limit and all that. So, but I'm not that crazy. So on-road stupidity has been pretty limited. Yeah.
Okay. So what is your scariest moment on a bike?
I think kind of just going back to what I was just saying, like I haven't had that many scary moments on a bike other than the routine people pulling out in front of you and with a car or trying to merge into you. I mean, those are pretty standard things that I wouldn't. I'm able to brush that off pretty quickly. Obviously, in the moment, it's pretty frustrating. You might yell. I know I've got a few stories of me doing dumb shit and flipping off people I shouldn't have, but
everybody's heard about that.
Yeah,
now.
Yeah, no, whatever. Nobody pulled a freaking pew on me. Let's just be clear. That didn't happen.
That story ran wild. I'll be honest with you. I heard that story too, and it went crazy.
It's like I got mixed up with somebody else. Anyways, we don't even need to go there.
We won't go there.
I think that the more likely answer to this is that I've had a ton of close calls doing dirt biking. So, and I talked about doing dirt biking. It's still something I do. I own 2 dirt bikes actually, but I like woods riding. So that means you're on like a 24-inch wide trail, and the width of the trail is usually trees. So there's trees, and I'm not a super fast rider, but even on moderate paces, usually somewhere between 12 and 25 miles an hour through the trees. And I love it, but it's scary. It can be.
Yeah,
I've whacked my head pretty good.
I grew up on dirt bikes too. There's always a root sticking out that wasn't there before.
And then like nobody, unless you've done this on a dirt bike, or maybe if you've done downhill mountain biking or anything like that, that feeling of you're just riding along, and then before your brain even has time to process it, you are like smack into the ground, or like it just happens so quickly.
Yeah. And they come out of nowhere.
Yep. Seriously.
Or an acorn falls and you kiss it. All right. What has been your favorite part of riding?
I think there's a couple answers to this. I think one, it's been challenging myself. I think it's been learning about new bikes, developing a broader depth of understanding of techniques. I really enjoy, like I said, I enjoy challenging myself. I enjoy getting better at it. I think a big part of riding bikes is also the community. So it brings us together. It gives us a common reason to talk to each other. That it's just a simple thing. It's like, if you ride bikes, you're kind of my people. There are some exceptions, obviously, but in general, I think, it's it's probably my favorite hobby for that very reason.
Right on. Now, how about flip side of that? What's the most frustrating part of riding?
It's for up here, it's not riding. So it's the 3 months out of the year, really probably longer than that, 4 to 5, because I am not one of those people that likes to ride below like about 45 degrees. It gets to be too brutal. So it's really not riding, because otherwise it's just the generic things of, oh, car drivers are dumb, and what if I get rained on? I hate that. That's frustrating. But no, for me, it's not being able to ride.
Okay. So Carson's asking me when I'm going to get an ADV bike. That I've been throwing that around for a few months now. So I'm actually fixing to do something really big with the channel. I don't want to. I've told those that are close to me about this, but I'm doing something big with the channel. So it's probably going to be within the next few months, because I got plans. I got plans to grow the channel, do bigger things, and go places with it. But I've got to do something first. So it's coming. It's coming, Coder. It's coming. So here we are, into the second month of the year. What are your plans for this year? What rides you going to do? What meetups you going to do? What you got going on?
It's great question. Great question. Obviously, Forgotten Angels Camp Out. That's the next big thing. Actually, no, I lied. Next weekend, I will be at Mama Tried in Milwaukee, and that's going to be with Whiskey Chaser, Biker Babe Beth, Shade Tree Surgeon, Shay Lacey, Jared Weems of Weems Motor Co. He's going to be there. He's a builder, so he's going to be in the chopper show. So if you don't know, Mama Tried it's a bike show. It's a chopper show in Milwaukee. There's also a flat track race that's held on that Friday night before. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to go to that, but that's next weekend. Forgotten Angels next month. I don't think I have anything in April yet, but who knows? If the weather's nice, maybe I make some trips out to like Ohio or Tennessee. And then in May, we've got the Tennessee Motorcycle Music Revival in Hurricane Mills. So that's at Loretta Lynn's ranch. I think that's May 18th to 21st, thereabouts.
Something like
that. So I'm planning on riding. That one I definitely want to ride down to. So not going to pick up truck it. I don't think I have anything over the summer, but there might be a local event in Grand Rapids in July. I think Wild Rider, he's somebody that hangs out in a lot of the premier chats. He tagged me on something that I wouldn't have otherwise known about, but it's just like there's a pretty good motorcycle culture in Michigan, but I don't engage with it enough, because I think I've been stuck with this online community. So I need to branch out more and go to more of those events.
Okay. For you guys out in the audience, I am trying to keep the channel not clean, but I am trying to keep the larger section of dirty words off of the chat. So, be kind in the chats. You can be ratty to each other, but don't use the larger set of pronouns and verbs that people use. So I have to delete those. I'm sorry. So what do you got in September? Sir.
It's like a quiz, because I feel like I've agreed to so many different things. There's probably something.
Me and Chase, Whiskey Chaser, our birthday is both in September, and Parker. So
are you doing Gatlinburg again?
No, we're going to go to the Jack Daniels distillery.
I'm in.
I'm doing the Jack Daniels tour.
Look at that. That's what I'm doing in September.
Yep. So if anybody out there wants to go, I'm trying to do this every Labor Day now. Labor Day weekend, my birthday usually falls either like the day before or the day after Labor Day weekend. So it's very cool that I can actually do this. So every Labor Day, I'm going to go to Jack Daniels from here on until the end of time, until there's no more Jack Daniels left in the world to drink. So invite yourself, show up. It's going to be fun. There.
Nice. And then October, we got Forgotten Angels Camp Out again.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Aaron in the chat, he's like, there's plenty of events in Ohio. Come to a couple of them. I'm not opposed. I definitely want to come, especially to like Throttle Co. And if they're going to do another event that draws in a bunch of people, I'll definitely come out for that. Come hang out with Aaron. Obviously, we'll have to do something. I think we've talked about doing the triple nickel there in Ohio, but we haven't finalized any plans on that.
Yep, I've made some sort of plans, very not solid yet, with Nicole and with Aaron for going up there. I keep telling Aaron I'm going to go up there. But yeah, I mean, the riding around Ohio, especially those valleys and stuff, even going from Kentucky through Ohio, through there, and not far down from where Aaron and Nicole are, there is the Rev-It Hash in Kentucky, which is freaking awesome. It's a little village, like on the riverside by the ferry, and it's like a little town, a little general store, a little barbecue. They got a stage on the water, and it looks very cool. But it's down like a single lane road for like a mile to get in and a mile to get out. It's just a little single lane blacktop road. So it's very, very cool.
A little hidden gem. I like it.
Gem. It is a hidden gem. So here's a new question that I've not asked anyone else yet. You are the first.
All right, let's do it.
What bike do you think is the most reliable that you would tell a new rider to get?
Oh, so it's got to be a bike for a new rider, and it's got to be reliable.
When I say new rider, I'm talking about somebody who's already went through the MSF course, knows how to ride, and now it's like, here's a low-cost, low-maintenance bike that's easy to ride, and if you had to do some maintenance on it, you could do it yourself here.
Honestly, it's probably like, and I didn't go this route myself, but I know a lot of people have had good luck with the Honda Shadows. I think that's a really, really good bike, and Honda, you kind of got that built-in reliability. And Aaron wants me to say Honda Rebel. I will not.
Rebel.
I will not say that. Not that it's a bad bike or that it's not reliable. It's just not what I personally would recommend, especially since like I don't fit that well on it, but I would probably fit a little bit better on a Shadow. So there's a lot of different factors, but definitely something Honda. And I know I'm kind of a Kawasaki guy, but I think Honda's kind of got they take the cake on reliability. I mean,
yeah.
Kawasaki's fine, but not. I don't know if they're quite there.
Yep, I had a 2004 Honda Sabre. It was a Shadow Sabre, and for 5 years, all I ever did on it was change the oil.
Yeah,
it needed nothing.
Seriously, that's all they need.
And the GL650 was the original Silver Wing. I got that after I crashed my first BMW, and I had it for 3 years, and also never did anything but change the oil. And I painted it with a rattle can. The good thing about an old bike is if you decide to change the color on it, all the skins come off with just a few bolts. You can paint them with a can of spray paint, put them back on. It looks like a brand new bike. So, is what it is. So, yeah. Chris Livenlarge has a Honda Shadow. So here's a question for you. If you could go anywhere on a motorcycle today, vacation be damned, cost be damned, where would you go? You don't have to start where you are. You can start anywhere and take a ride. Where would it be?
If it could be anywhere, I would want to go over to Germany. I spent a couple of weeks there, and I got to experience a few different regions of Germany, but I would love to go ride through southern Germany around, especially around Heidelberg. You're kind of in the very hilly, mountainous, kind of rocky, sometimes rocky, but it was just beautiful. It was like, that in Austria. So I take it back already. Salzburg, Austria. It was like it was like living in the movie Sound of Music. I don't know how else to describe it. It was so amazingly beautiful. And if I could experience that on a bike, hands down, I could die that day and I'd be fine. Seriously, quote me on that. I don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Europe. The best part of Europe I ever got to drive in, and I always said I'd go back and ride it, was in Gdansk, Poland. There's a subway or a elevated metro that goes through from Gdynia to Gdansk through like the forest, and there's like a little road that's literally like as wide as a bike path, like the ones that it looks like part of the trail that Shade Tree took when he was on the Trans-American Trail. It's literally a dirt
The
path,
BDR
and
stuff.
you can actually see it. Yeah. And people were down there on little motorcycles, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to go there. I want to do this, ride through this forest with nothing around me, and I want to ride a motorcycle. So it just looked very cool. I am actually thinking about Country Coder has already done this. He's rode the Trans-American Trail up from where he is up to all the way up to Memphis, with very few breaks in the. And he's got to remind me how much it was. It took him all day to ride up here, but it was all back trails and dirt trails, and it was pretty neat. But I want to do that. So yeah, and that's the reason also why Carson's asking me when I'm going to get my ADV bike, because we've been planning this for almost 6 months or so now, a little more than 6 months. So pretty freaking neat. So
if you get an ADV bike, does it naturally have to be a GS? A BMW GS, I should say.
I've actually planned a GS. I've actually looked at a couple of GS 1100s and 1150, but because of Nicole has shown me that Scram, that 411, and then she's got some other bikes up there. So, and of course Kawasaki has that 650. So there's a lot of bikes out there. I'm not a brand snob. I like every bike. I just like BMWs in particular because they are just so easy to work on, and I can use the same toolkit on all of them. So
true. Yeah, I think the Scram looks cool. Me personally, I fear that it would become very underwhelming pretty quickly, just with power. But also recognizing that, like, if you're gonna try 80, if you're not, I mean, I know I'm not saying this to you directly, but to kind of the audience, is like, you can get a big, heavy ADV bike that's big and fast. But if you do get in some off-road situations that are not just perfectly paved dirt, the heavier the bike, the more that's going to become unwieldy. So the idea of a Scram, it's probably a good idea. I just think it's too far that direction of, like, it's too light and it's a little bit too underpowered. So I know Rowdy's got that V-Strom. I think that's probably a good, if you were going to just get like a second bike that was like a ADV bike or light ADV bike, I think a V-Strom or any of them, the Kawasaki's, I know we were just talking about those, the 650s, probably a good cheap second bike option to have an ADV bike in your stable.
Well, we all know that there's this one girl who ran a 250 all over Africa.
Oh yeah,
and
not going to dispute that.
Yeah, and then she took a 300, ran it all over from South America all the way up to Alaska. So
yeah, I love that series. We're talking about
Itchy Boots.
Oh gosh, Itchy Boots.
Itchy Boots, yeah. She was on the I think the Himalayas, a 450 or it might be a 500, but she rode that all over Russia, China, Upper Europe, Finland. She went all through the Scandinavian countries. So you can do a lot with a small bike, and I think probably that's one of the things that saved her, made her be able to do it, is because she can only knock out maybe 150 kilometers a day. So, but when you're doing a big trip like that and you have all the time in the world and you're just trying to get somewhere and not be overwhelmed, a light bike's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and I think that's what distinguishes her doing. Ranger, shut up. Distinguishes her doing that as opposed to, I think, the common people. Is like, she's just kind of like doing this on her own free time. She doesn't have a real schedule. I mean, she has a schedule, but, like, I don't know. It's a little bit like easier going. I think that's why everybody loves that channel. It's like she just enjoys riding, and yeah, she could do it on a bigger, faster bike, but it was just really cool to see her explore all the different little towns and villages, and like meeting all the different people along the way. So little bikes can do that too. I agree.
Right on. Aaron is saying the Himalayan's a 411. I think the Himalayan's a 500.
No, they use the 411 motor.
Did they use a 411 motor?
Unfortunately, yeah. I wish they would have put like the 500. They've got a 650, right? I mean,
They will now. They have a new Himalayan now that's a 650. So it's very cool stuff. So we've kind of already talked about this, but have you inspired anyone to wrench or ride their own bikes?
I am working on inspiring Aaron to wrench on his own bike, and I know
We
you
are
are as
all.
well.
Yeah,
But
Aaron,
outside of
get
that,
with it.
I think part of my channel is to do just that. So just more generally to people that come into my channel, just showing people that even a regular old feller like me can ride and wrench. And I don't know. I don't know that I've had that direct impact on anybody yet, but that's a goal of mine. That's a goal.
I have had people. Anyone's watched any of my videos on my own maintenance know that I had a very hard time with the Harley side bags and the backrest and the location. And I showed the problems I had with it. And I got that from, and that's another thing I got from Shade Tree. If I would not have watched Shade Tree, I probably would have tried to cut out all the bad stuff and act like I was a professional. But one thing Josh
leave it
showed
in.
us all, show your human side. If you had a hard time with it, say you had a hard time with it. Show you had a hard time with it. Don't make it look like you're the perfect person, because then people are going to come with you with questions you can't answer.
Yep. Agreed. Agreed.
But I've had people tell me, I'm glad you did this. I'm glad you showed it like this, because it took me all day and I had to go to the auto parts store and get more washers, and I had to get the bolts just like you said. Because anyone who doesn't know, when I love Viking bags, but when they send you a parts kit, they send it with about 10 times too many bolts, and it's still the wrong bolts. So you've got to go to the parts store and get more bolts, more nuts, more washers. And that's what this guy said. He goes, yeah, I had the whole kit, went through every washer. They start with bolts about this long, down to that long, down to that long, and they basically tell you to use whatever bolts you need, whatever fits, use it. And the washers and the spacers are there to make up for having to use too long a bolt. I am not shitting you.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So people are very grateful when you don't lie to them and you actually show them how hard something actually is. So.
Yeah, I just experienced that on Thursday when I premiered my video. I had a video that I titled it air quotes making progress, because it was a really frustrating video. I really didn't accomplish anything, but I wanted to put the video up anyways because I want to show people like my process. So I started the video saying I'm going to try to do this and this and this, and then throughout the video, if you saw it, I was like, all right, well, we're going to go on to do this, and then I'd edit it like, nope, not happening. And then I ended the video being like, this episode really beat me up. Like, but you got to have the bad days sometimes. And I think showing people that it makes the good videos even better. That goes with anything in life. I think you can't just have all happy all the time. I think you got to spend some time in the weeds, in the dirt, get down, and then bring yourself back up. And got the support of this community. It makes it easy. So I think it's a crucial part of my channel is showing everything. I cut out a lot of stuff just because the video would be forever long otherwise, but I try to leave in a lot of the real stuff.
Yeah, and look at Josh's, Vomit Comet videos. We've been waiting for that Vomit Comet for how long now? Over 2 years. No, over a year at least, because it happened before the last March camp out is when he may have been before last October camp out where the Vomit Comet broke down, but he's been working on that now for 2 years.
Yeah, I guarantee there's probably people that are subscribers of his channel that do not know about that bike at all.
Yeah,
it's been that long and it was such a big part of his channel for the longest time. And I'm like a lifer. I've been part of, like, I've been watching Josh's channel. Not that like it's a contest, but I've been watching Josh's channel since he was probably in like the 10 to 20,000 sub range, and so I've seen the evolution of like how he does videos, his bikes, his content creating process. And that bike was on the channel for a long time.
Yeah, I think it is a contest. I mean, if you can say that you watched him back when he was doing the hair scrambles still, and he was still active on those bikes, and when he was still working on that 650 he had, the Yamaha. Those are some good videos. That's some good
core memories. Yeah.
And he was struggling back then, but I think again that's what made these videos so cool, is you could see a person who was well known in the community, who did great things, that actually had to struggle just like you struggles, and it makes your struggles feel like that's natural.
Yeah.
So I love watching Josh. I was telling Josh this morning how much I loved him. We actually text back and forth for a while talking about different things in the camp out and raffles and stuff, and he's a human being, and I think that's what makes you love him more. And I think when you find out that your idols are actually human, just like you, it makes you more endeared to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we get a little bit of like pushback from people that aren't familiar or aren't as familiar with like the weirdos, the Brat Star crew. It's like you're kind of like obsessed with these people. I'm like, no, they're just like really good people, and it's easy to become obsessed with them. And it's not, that doesn't make us a cult. It's just like we're naturally all kind of, we all get along, and it's like the type of people we like to be.
Yeah, how easily we all became friends. It's almost like going to your friend's basketball game and cheering them on. You want to see them succeed, not because you think they're great at basketball, because they're your friends. You want to see them succeed because you are close to them and know them and have a connection with them. So
yeah, it's not. I was going to say
maybe
it's not about his bike building abilities, because we know that's questionable at best. It's not about his dirt bike riding abilities, because we know like he's just a guy. And like I think that was another. You want to talk about inspirations? I started doing racing of dirt bikes because of him, because of watching a lot of those hair scramble videos. So I love that content, and I was sad when the analytics just didn't make sense for him, for his channel to continue to post those, because I love that, watching him talk through and struggle through a dirt bike race, which is really, really physically demanding. If you haven't done it, I don't know that I can explain it. It's just really, it's an all body workout, and you're trying to be competitive. So that I think he coined the term that I always use is, I'm not racing, I'm aggressively participating. So that's Josh, and I love that.
Yeah. Yep. What do we got next? Okay, so if you could tell a new rider one thing that you had to learn the hard way, what would it be?
I've definitely said this before, but I will say it again. If you're a new rider and you're afraid of riding in the rain, or the thought of getting caught in the rain is terrifying to you, you will learn that the road does not fall out from underneath you when it rains. It is surprisingly easy to ride. It's not always easy to see, but I would say it's not as scary as that anxiety that you get as a new rider. Like, oh my God, I'm not that good. I've only done MSF. I've got like X amount of time on a bike that's not, for whatever reason, they feel like it's not enough. And then, oh my God, what happened? What would happen if I got caught on the rain? It's like, slow down. It'll be fine. Like, I'm not saying to go out and seek it out, but I think that was the one thing that the first time that I was on a longer ride and got caught in the rain, like that relief of like, oh, this ain't no big deal.
I think,
and there's plenty of other good lessons for new riders, but that's mine.
Yeah, everything is scary the first time you do it. So, I mean, is what it is. Somebody's complaining about my bar. Let's see if I can get rid of the bar here. Nope, forget it. Everything is scary the first time you do it. And after that, it doesn't become cliche. It still might be difficult, but at least then you know you can do it.
Yeah.
All right. What one thing is it that people may not know about you that you'd like to share?
I was thinking about this as well. I don't know how much I want to share about my personal life, necessarily about what I do for work, but I would say the one thing that people probably get wrong about me is that, believe it or not, I'm like a pretty well-educated person, and I work in a professional setting for real. And I know I'm like on this community, like I'm loose. Like I'm goofy. I act stupid sometimes. I say stupid stuff, and I sometimes over imbibe. my own fault. But that's like I'm also very into process improvement. Like I work in quality. I'll throw that out there. Like I've got this mindset of always wanting to make myself better and recognizing that failure is a part of that process. So that work life and has also kind of helped with becoming a channel, because as a small creator, which I am, 135 subscribers, hopefully 136.
Keep counting.
I know that the stuff I put out right now is like, someday I hope to look back and be like, wow, I was really bad at that. But like, wow, I also learned a lot along the way. And I feel proud of that. Like that accomplishment of, yeah, it was difficult. I failed. But then eventually things started to make sense. And I don't know, like, I feel like compared to March of last year when I started my channel, I've come a long way. And I'm pretty proud of that. It's not to say that I think I'm like worthy of being everyone's favorite channel that they go to, but I'm really, really proud of that.
Yeah, growing this channel has been a huge deal for me, and it's a growth process. And I think I've learned a lot of life lessons just by doing this channel. So I'm sure it's the same for you, where there are things you thought about life, society, yourself when you began that have changed.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely,
yeah. I say so a lot. I know that somebody said.
I do that as well. I was talking to Chase about that. I realized in my videos I was saying so, which I still do. I'll do it. I'm sure I've done it a lot already, but so and all right. I start and end phrases with that.
All right.
It's so annoying to edit. It's
all right. There's nothing wrong with that. We're human. Mm-hmm. We're human, all right? We're not perfect yet. Okay, if you could buy any bike right now, what would it be?
Oh, oof. That's a really tough one. And I looked at this question early, like well before this interview, and oh man, that's a really, really, really hard question, because part of me would be like, oh, I'd love to go and get a 131 upgraded Road King or something cool like that. I also just bought a Road King. I haven't really gotten to ride it, so who knows? Maybe I'll hate it. Maybe I'll hate Harley. I won't. I've already test rode him. I know I like him, but beyond that, like something that would just be wild that if money was no object, like I'd get like some decked out CVO something. You know, like just go full hog on it and like just do it up.
Exactly which one? What do you think?
Honestly, I don't mind that newer. I know Trucker Paul makes a meme out of it, but I actually like that new red paint scheme that they did for the 120th anniversary. I think I'm one of the few people that really likes that for the was it Ultra Classic, probably 120th anniversary.
They did it on all of them, and that was the weird part. All the CVOs got that sundown, 84 Gullwing, and I think it's probably one of those generational things. Whenever I see that, and I can't help myself, and I've seen all the memes for it, I think of the original, 1200 Gullwings that had that paint job on them, and it looks like a Gullwing to me. Even though the Harley looks nothing like a Gullwing, that paint job reminds me of the 80s, early 80s Gullwings. So I get it. It's a beautiful paint job. Yeah. I liked it on the 84 Gullwing. But yeah, I do like it too, but it still just reminds me of that old Gullwing. Harley charges a lot more for it than Honda did.
Yeah, for $52,000 or something like that.
Ridiculous, yeah. Flip side.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What do you got?
Go ahead. Nope. This is all you.
Oh, I was just gonna say the only other bike I would consider that actually would be in a somewhat more affordable range is that, but my dad has one, so that's why I wouldn't have to buy it because I already have access to this bike. Is a KTM 1290 Super Adventure R, or the S. Actually, I would probably get the S because it doesn't come with the knobby tires, and I know that's probably sacrilege for a bike that's so designed to be an ADV bike, but it is just a fun, very, very fast bike that's designed for people that aren't 5'8". No offense to my 5'8" brethren, but as as a 6'5" person, it's very hard to get on a bike and not have your feet flat. And this is one bike that can do that for me. Like, it's like they're almost flat, but not. And I love that. So that's a $17,000 bike, but
it's a lot of suspension travel on that bike. Yeah. And it's meant for one thing. Bouncing.
It's meant for going fast.
Yeah.
It's really meant for going fast. It's a crotch rocket that has been made into ADV. It's amazing. If you haven't ridden one, or if you ever get a chance to, 100% recommend.
Billy says the 80s Gull Wings are pure sex. Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
The funny thing about the Gull Wing, so the Gull Wing, for people who don't know, the original late 70s Gull Wings were actually sport bikes. But the engines were so reliable and maintenance free and powerful that people started putting saddlebags on them and fairings. Honda, not one to miss out, said, well, we'll just put fairings on them out of the factory if people are going to do that to them anyway and sell them and make a profit off of it. So that's how the Gull Wing came about. Fancy enough, the Hayabusa came in the opposite direction. The original Hayabusa was meant to be a touring bike. And
really?
Was just so fast. You can look at the early 90s Hayabusas actually had luggage, a trunk. They were meant for touring. So, and if you can get them still with luggage, and they say they are extremely comfortable to ride for long
I've heard
distances.
that. I've actually heard that, because even though they're a crotch rocket, that they kind of stretch you out, so your legs are not as cramped. So,
yep. True story.
Probably not my choice, but I respect it.
My bike is a crotch rocket. It just so happens to have luggage on it. I mean, it's 168 horsepower crotch rocket with luggage. So, if you don't believe me, watch Grease on his.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm gonna ride your bike at one point.
Yeah, it'll be open for riding in March once we get there.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're almost there.
Here's the last question that I have for you, and then you can ask me some. I haven't told anyone this question yet. That you're going to be the first one I ask.
All right.
What is your toxic trait?
Ooh. This is a great question. Okay. I've got so many. That's my trait, is that I've got too many toxic traits. No. My toxic trait is, I'll just name one. How about that?
It works.
It's going on Facebook Marketplace and buying shit that I think I can fix up. So you guys, I think most of you know about the motorcycles, but I own like 3 snowmobiles. One of them is back home at my parents' place, still partially disassembled. I'm going to get around to it. So, and I've got another one that I think I mentioned it earlier, that I picked up for $250. That one I got running fine, but I've since let it sit for too long, and now I need to work on it again. So it's that, like, I'm like what's that bird? Like, I see something, I'm like, it's not necessarily shiny, but I'm like drawn to things that are like, oh, I could fix that.
Oh, Martin.
And then without realizing,
it's a Martin.
Yeah,
and crows.
I was thinking magpie. I think was was what I was thinking about. My dog just chewed a USB cable. Excellent. Hopefully he didn't. Oh, he didn't eat it. He's just chewing it. Nice. All right. Anyways,
that'll make interesting poop.
Yeah. So that, I mean, I don't know. I talked about it. Like, I probably over imbibe a little bit too much. That's a definitely toxic trait. But I think I'm just a little bit. I got too many hobbies, man. That's I got to focus on like one thing, maybe like 2 things.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. And I used to do that. I used to actually get stuff off of, and when I was in the early 2000s, I would get stuff off of Facebook and Craigslist, fix bikes up and then sell them. And then it's hard not to, because now somebody was saying it on one of the channels the other day. There's not a day goes by that I don't get on Facebook or Marketplace or Craigslist and eBay and look at motorcycles and go, I could fix that. What is that all that's wrong with it? I could fix that.
Yeah. Yep. We're always in the either, I know, mostly in the Whiskey Chaser chat, we're always sending each other stuff that's like, check this out, like, you should buy this.
Yeah.
And then it's usually me going, I should buy this.
There is so many.
And then everybody's like, do it.
Yeah, Memphis, I mean, you leave Memphis, 5 miles in either direction, it's rural. So there's so many barn finds and garage finds and things that have sat for so long, and somebody finds them and goes, "Oh, well, I don't know what this is for. I'm going to sell it." One of my favorite stories to tell is when I worked. I lived in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and I worked with a guy. Came to work one day and he goes, "You know what a Radian is? You ever heard of that?" And I said, "Yeah, it was Yamaha's 600cc race bike in the 80s." He goes, "Well, somebody has one for sale, and I want you to look at it for me because I want to see if it's a good buy." And I was like, "Okay." So how much do they want for it? He goes, $640. And I go, "Well, that's not too bad." So I went with him to look at the bike. The bike had been sitting in this shed for 2 years. Tires were flat. It looked good. It was covered in dirt, covered in wasp nests and stuff. We got it pulled out, put some gas into it, cranked it up, and you could tell one of the carburetors had a bad rubber in it, but it was running on 3 cylinders. And I was like, "Yeah, man, $640." I said, "Just replace all 4 carburetors, probably for $50 off eBay, and it'll be running." He goes, "You think I could talk her down?" I was like, "Well, go ahead." And so he asked the lady, he says, "So how much do you want for this again?" And she goes, $64, and I'm not going any lower. And he looks at me
64?
She says, "Yep." She says, "My son joined the Coast Guard, and I told him if I had to register it one more time, I was getting my money back for the registration and selling it." And he looks at me like, "You think it's worth it?" And I said, "I'm going to put it in my trunk if you don't take it right now."
I was going to say.
I'll take it right now. And so, but yeah,
even if it's...
she had kept it.
No.
She had kept it for 5 years, and he never came back and got it. So she's like, "I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to get my money back for the $64 it took me to register it." So, in that Arkansas, all over like that. Around Mississippi, all over like that. You find them all over the place, and they go quick. When you look at them, and we've talked about it in the Discord before. It's like, "Oh yeah, they're selling this bike for $1,000. It's probably stolen." No, somebody doesn't know what they've got, and the only way to tell if it's stolen or if it's something that somebody just don't know is to go look at it.
Yeah, we've started like you know the posts that are probably stolen though, because there's like very limited information, or like the good posts usually have the VIN in it, or they'll take a picture of thing like it has a license plate. That's usually a key indicator for me. It doesn't have any of that. It's like
key indicator,
you're selling that.
Yeah, key indicator for stolen is no registration, no key, track bike only, but it still has the blinkers and headlight on it.
Lost title.
Lost title. Yeah, and lost titles do happen. I get it because I've been in not arguments but discussions, and I refuse to argue with people about it. If I believe something, I'm going to keep believing it, whether I can convince you or not. So there's no use in arguing about it. But I'll say, yeah, it's probably stolen. And they're like, "No, because you can do it. It's like $50 for a mechanic's lien and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever. If you want it, go get it." But
yeah, we have a process. I had to do that with the KZ, but I knew it wasn't a stolen bike. It just I originally bought that KZ 440 for my sister. She wanted to get into bikes. I thought I could fix it. It's still in my garage. It barely runs. That's a whole different story. But in Michigan, there's a process. You can get a bonded title. You have to have a police inspection done. It ends up costing like $300 thereabouts. But like there is a process to get a title for a bike that you just don't have a title for.
You can even get a stolen bike titled, and I can't remember who did it, but the bike was stolen. He bought it when they ran the numbers on it. Oh, it was on Bikes and Beards. The bike was stolen, but the insurance company had already paid it off, so now it's a loss. And so when he went to run it, he's like, "Oh, do we have to turn the bike over now?" And they're like, "No, just get it retitled because it's a stolen bike, and nobody wants it now because it's already been paid out. We're not going to give it to anybody. If the insurance company got it back to auction it, they might make $1,000 off of it. So they're not going to want it transferred. They're going to ship it back to New York or wherever it came from just to title, to auction it off for $1,000. So happens all the time. All right. As a final, do you have any questions for me? It's become kind of a ritual now for people to ask me. So what you got? What do you got?
I think Aaron already kind of asked it, but I was going to ask you. Well, one, if we're doing sea shanties again, I think the obvious answer is yes.
That's not even a question.
Secondarily, for this camp out, or really this and the next, are you going to do karaoke this time, or are you going to record? And that's a genuine question. I won't judge one way or the other.
I keep saying I'm going to do it, and then I have so much fun recording I don't. So I may need Aaron, Bleak, Jews. I may need some encouragement this time to put the camera down. I tell you what, if Ellie's there this time, she made a fantastic boom. So if Ellie's there, I'll give her my camera, and I'll actually do karaoke.
True.
Yeah, that's the highest in the air my camera has ever been when it was in Ellie's hands. So, yes, I will do karaoke this time. I will pick a good song.
Awesome.
I keep saying I'm going to pick a song from Shrek the Musical, or I may do. Yeah, I've got some picked. I've got a bunch picked out because I'll sing a song and start singing around the house and in the car for days, and then go, "Yep, I'm doing that at karaoke," and then I'll find another song and I go, "Yep, I'm doing that one for karaoke." So, I will definitely though this time do one. I promise.
I am trying to build up the courage to do it as well. So I might do it.
So Billy says your toxic trait is a crippling addiction to motorcycles. He knows because he can smell his own.
Yeah, we're all birds of a feather here, but
yeah,
it's doesn't make it not a toxic trait.
Yeah, just because we're all in rehab don't mean we're not addicts. So
yeah.
All right. Well, everybody got any questions out of the audience? Now's your time. We got a couple of minutes.
Oh yeah, Bruiser says that I could look her in Ellie in the eye. I have a photo with her. I was there.
Yes, one of the few people.
She and I actually chat pretty. No, I wouldn't say regularly, but like every now and then again.
Yeah, she's pretty
tall
cool.
people.
Tall people power.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. I'd like to thank you all for coming in. So Billy says, make sure you go watch Luce Juice's new video. I haven't watched your last one yet. So
I got a whole series.
Yeah.
Got a playlist. Get caught up.
Yeah. Aaron, yes, you got up there, but I think somebody else did all of the singing.
Sid.
So I'm just gonna say that.
Oh, speaking of Sid, a good little segue. So
yes, Sydney's on tomorrow night. Same time. Yep. Same rain time, same rainy channel. Sydney will be on tomorrow at 5 p.m. I know a lot of you guys will probably be watching the Super Bowl. It's not something I watch anymore. I haven't watched the last probably 5 or 6. Even before the last 5 or 6, I only watched it for the commercials because the game it just became way too commercial for me. But that's another story. So if you're not going to watch the Super Bowl, hey, duck in at 5. I mean, nothing's probably going to be happening anyway. I mean, you might as well duck in and watch us. Pre-game.
I will be on. I'll be on. I'll be in the chat.
All right, and at 8 o'clock tonight, my time, 8 o'clock Central Time, Two Will Goon's going to be having a broadcast. Look at that dog. Too cute.
Yeah, he's telling me that's his signal that I have to go outside. So he's coming up and being like, listen.
It's time.
Effer. It's time. All right. Well, thank you again for having me. I hope you all enjoyed this. I know I did. But yeah, we'll talk to you all soon. Be on the Weirdos Assemble chat later tonight.
All right, guys. Y'all take care.